The oarfish, also known as the king of herrings, is one of the most mysterious creatures to ever swim the seas. This bizarre-looking fish has been described as the closest thing to a real-life sea monster. The oarfish has been responsible for some scary attacks on humans, and its huge size makes it a formidable predator. But what exactly is an oarfish, and why should we be afraid of these massive fish? The oarfish is a very large, very long fish that can grow up to 56 feet in length. These massive fish are usually found in deep waters between 2,000 and 4,000 feet. Despite their enormous size, they are surprisingly rare, and there have only been a few confirmed sightings of them in the wild. Most of the time they are spotted floating near the surface of the water, which is unusual for a fish of their size. They have also been known to jump out of the water, which is even more surprising. Oarfish have a distinctive appearance with a long, narrow body and a large head. They have 2 dorsal fins and a single tail fin, and their mouths are full of sharp teeth. They are usually silver or gray in color, but some have been known to turn red when they are pulled out of the water. Oarfish are believed to be the largest bony fish in the world, and they are thought to be around 200 million years old. That's older than dinosaurs. They are also known as king of herrings because they feed primarily on herring and other small fish. Although oarfish are typically solitary creatures, they have been known to gather in large groups, especially when there is a plentiful supply of food available. When this happens, they form huge schools that can stretch for miles. In some cases, these schools have been known to contain hundreds of thousands of oarfish. In recent years, there have been a number of strange occurrences involving oarfish that have left people scratching their heads. For example, in 2003, an oarfish was found washed up on the beach in Santa Catalina Island, California. It was estimated to be around 18 feet long and weighed over 100 pounds. What was so strange about this particular oarfish was that it had a strange red mark on its side that looked like a giant bite. This led many people to believe that the fish had been attacked by a shark, even though sharks don't typically attack oarfish. Some even went as far as to suggest that the bite mark was evidence of a sea monster attack. Another strange occurrence involving an oarfish took place in 2009, when a fisherman in Japan caught a massive oarfish that was estimated to be over 50 feet long. The fisherman had been trying to catch tuna when he suddenly felt a massive tug on his line. He fought to reel in the fish for over an hour, but it was too strong and eventually broke his line and got away. Although he didn't catch the oarfish, he was able to get some footage of it, and it was later confirmed to be one of the largest ever recorded. In 2013, another oarfish was found washed up on the beach in the Philippines. This particular oarfish was estimated to be around 20 feet long, and it was in such good condition that scientists were able to take tissue samples from it and study its DNA. This helped them learn more about the oarfish and its evolutionary history. These are just a few of the strange occurrences involving oarfish that have captured the public's imagination. Oarfish are truly fascinating creatures that remain shrouded in mystery. Their huge size and unusual appearance make them a formidable presence in the ocean, and it's easy to see why they've been the subject of so much speculation and folklore. But not everyone is convinced that oarfish are real. There are many skeptics who claim that the supposed oarfish sightings are nothing more than tall tales, and that there is no concrete evidence that they actually exist. They argue that the stories of oarfish attacks are likely exaggerated, or completely made up, and that the supposed oarfish remains are often misidentified fish or other marine creatures. Some even go as far as to say that oarfish are simply the product of a collective human fascination with the unknown, and that we're all just making them up in our own minds. But despite the skepticism, the stories of orca persist, and there have been far too many sightings from credible sources to simply write them off as fantasy. There is something out there in the depths of our oceans that we do not understand, and perhaps we never will. When you hear a story about a mysterious sea creature that looks like it could be straight out of a horror movie, your first thought is probably that it's fake. However, every once in a while, there's a story that comes across your feed that you just can't stop thinking about. Even after you've tried to brush it off as nonsense, the story of the oarfish is one of those stories. The oarfish is a massive, elusive creature that's been described as a real-life sea monster. And although it may sound like something from a fisherman's tall tale, the truth is that the oarfish is a very real and very mysterious animal. The sheer size of the oarfish is what makes it so terrifying. These fish can grow up to 56 feet long, which is longer than a school bus. That's a big fish. And despite their massive size, They are incredibly rare and elusive, which only adds to their mystique. If you're still skeptical, consider the fact that there have been several documented sightings of orcas over the years. In 2003, a massive orca was found washed up on a beach in California. And in 2009, a Japanese fisherman caught video of a massive orca that he claimed was over 50 feet long. It's hard to deny that there's something out there in the ocean when there's physical evidence right in front of you. The most recent sighting of an oarfish was in 2015, when a group of fishermen in Mexico spotted a massive oarfish that they claimed was over 100 feet long. They were able to get some footage of the fish before it disappeared into the depths. Despite all of the evidence, scientists are still struggling to understand the orca fish. We don't know how long they live or how many there are in the world. And until we learn more about them, we can only speculate about their behavior and their capabilities. One thing we do know is that orca fish are apex predators. They feed on a variety of fish, including herring, mackerel, and anchovies, and they're not afraid to go after large prey. There have been numerous reports of orca fish attacking boats and even other sea monsters. A group of sailors were out in the open ocean when their boat was suddenly attacked by an enormous orca. The fish rammed the boat several times, causing it to capsize. Fortunately, the sailors were able to right the boat and escape, but they were shaken to their core. Perhaps the most frightening aspect of the orca is its sheer strength. These fish are incredibly muscular and agile, and they can move through the water at incredible speeds. They are also capable of leaping out of the water and have been known to jump over 20 feet into the air. If an orca wanted to attack a person, it would be very difficult to escape. They're simply too big and too strong. Fortunately, orcas are generally docile creatures and only attack when they feel threatened. That being said, it's always a good idea to be cautious when you're in the ocean. You never know what you might encounter. One thing's for sure, you don't want to mess with an orca. Now let's talk about the legend of the Kraken. The Kraken is a legendary sea monster that's said to dwell off the coast of Norway. It's described as a massive creature with tentacles that can reach over 100 feet in length. The Kraken is said to be able to wrap its tentacles around ships and drag them down to their doom. For centuries, sailors told stories of the Kraken and its ability to destroy entire ships. Of course, most people thought these stories were just myths, until recently when scientists discovered that there really is a Kraken. Scientists have identified the Kraken as a colossal squid, and these squids are even bigger than the Kraken of legend. The giant squid can grow up to 46 feet in length and weigh over 1 ton. Just imagine the size of its tentacles. Like the Kraken of legend, the giant squid is a ferocious predator. It feeds on other sea creatures and has been known to attack sharks. Its beak is strong enough to pierce the skin of a shark, and its tentacles are lined with sharp suckers that can leave deep scars, including in the waters off the coast of Norway, where the original Kraken was said to live. They're also incredibly elusive creatures that are rarely seen by humans. This only adds to the mystery and intrigue surrounding them. So if you're ever swimming in the ocean, be sure to keep an eye out for this massive beast.